knows that I'd ever be the one that you chose out of the thousand invitations you received. Oh, but in case I stand one little chance, here comes the jackpot question in advance. What are you doing New Year's? New Year's Eve.
Well, Happy New Year, Sonder family. This is night number 2 with me as the on-camera facilitator. I'm Jennifer Ogilvy. I was here last night, here tonight. Katie did a setup. She's here in the chat tonight. You have the former Team Texas on this call. We are so glad that you're here. Katie's popping on, giving you a little bit of a wave, all the way from Scotland, and we are just glad that we're spending this pre-New Year's. It's New Year's Eve with y'all. Thank you for carving out that time and making an intention to be intentional with your journal. So it's so good to see you. Now, some of you are saying, you're not feeling well. That's okay. Just hang. You don't have to participate, but sometimes just being with your Sonder community is enough inspiration to then take into working on your journal when you're in a better mindset. So, you guys, yeah, it's chilly. I think most everywhere now. We were all, Texas had some record breakers in the past few days, and then we hit down into the 30s, and it's a little chilly, and it's going to get warm again and be weird. But I know some of you have had like blizzard, crazy weather. So, but it's winter, so we should at least enjoy a little bit of cool. But man, when you get the below, ugh, that's terrible. I don't know if I could do it. Half an inch of ice, Denise. Wow. So, yeah, say hello in the chat. Make sure your chat says it is set to everyone because we will communicate that way. And then I was very excited. You may have checked on the very back of your journal, your January journal, it says 100th edition 100. And so I thought that was kind of a neat milestone that we all get to hold. There's some pictures on the current slide of what are the very first iterations of Silk and Sonder look like, some of the very first ones that were created, and now we have our beautiful gold binding, which which we love. I think they used to be staples and some neat iterations, but then I added a question on there. Think about like tell us how long you've been part of the Silk and Sonder family. Some of you have been around longer than me. I think I'm going into my 5th year, I think. They all kind of run together. I know I started, I think it was in 21, like as we were trying to emerge from COVID. But I know you all happy anniversary. Some of you all started in January. It might have been a gift to yourself, your journal. And so happy Sonderversary. And if you had one of, what was a theme maybe that was so influential to you, like a little game changer theme? I've shared many times before. Something that kind of woke my brain up for me was when we had the month of indulgence. And I had been raised with a scarcity mindset. And that month just changed so many ways that I looked at life, just digging into indulgence. And I loved that. That was part of my Silk and Sonder journey. And so y'all are sharing some things. Oh, you get this for Christmas every year from your mom. I love that. Your mom is still taking good care of you, huh, Denise? That's so precious. Alicia says this is her first month. So if there's anybody else joining Alicia for the first time, coming in with this new journey and new journal, drop that in the chat because we want to give you a really big welcome. If if you come, oh, the Sonder circles, there you go. Yeah, Sarah, that was when that was when I first kind of started going to. So that's been a long time ago. And Sonder circles were actually very intimate events. And then they ended up springboarding these socials together. And that's when the facilitators first came together. And oh, I love all the stories that you're sharing here. So, as you know, if you've used your Silk and Sonder journal, it can be such a good tool for your life. Never feel guilty if you leave empty spaces or you choose not to do pages. I always say, what you do is what you're supposed to do. And if the month gets crazy and maybe you don't finish as strong as you started, it's okay. Like 2 out of 4 weeks isn't bad. 3 out of 4 weeks isn't bad. It's better than if we hadn't had it at all. So always enjoy that. We've got some new friends here too, so welcome. Yeah, no, Marissa's reminding, no journal police. No one's gonna come and pick this up and grade it. And Denise, so true. I know when I'm not using it, and that's for sure. I have not been taking care of myself. I've sort of given myself a couple of weeks off with the holidays, and I feel it. And so I'm not doing my trackers where I'm making sure I'm moving and drinking all my good water. And so, yeah. Anyway, thanks for sharing your little journey with Silk and Sonder there. So I'm really happy that you all are here. We always share this slide when we gather together. So if you've been to a social, you've seen these before, but these are those guidelines that remind us all to keep a safe space. If you're new, I'm going to say, I think it's Miku. I don't want to say your name the wrong way, but I probably will. Look really quickly through these guidelines because it is a reminder that we create nice, safe spaces for one another. If you have any questions about your journal subscription or other products, you will want to reach out to hello@silkandsonder.com. Katie and I are very limited with the behind the scenes stuff. We can always, if you needed something escalated because maybe you haven't heard back, you can let us know, and we can see if we can't contact a person. But we really don't have access to like your accounts and that kind of thing. You'll want to check out hello@silkandsonder.com. And then this reminder that, we're doing a setup tonight, but sometimes our socials, especially the journal prompt socials where you are facilitated through some of these tougher questions and sometimes they don't hit right. So we want to remind you to always take that space if you need it. This is, your time, your journal, your journey. And this social is being recorded and it will be posted to the Silk and Sonder YouTube channel. Katie will be sharing all those kinds of important links with you. So if you missed something or you meant to grab a screenshot and you didn't get it, no worries. You'll be able to access this recording probably later this evening. They've been very quick about getting them posted up on the YouTube channel. So, we've got a fun announcement about the upcoming exclusive that will be led by Mayha. New Year, Real You, your 2026 glow up. And it's going to be an exclusive event on Thursday, January 15th. I actually think I may be the one who's supporting that event. Um, on the 15th. And so, as with our exclusive socials, there's a small fee, but Mayha will kind of help set everybody up with this mindset of embracing a new year, but still being authentically you. And I love that it's the 15th and not like January 2nd. Like we're getting settled into the year, and then we'll be able to we'll kind of be back in our rhythms and routines. So I think we'll be in a really good headspace for that. And then we have a new theme this month of alignment. I'll be perfectly honest with you. The first thing I hear of when I hear alignment is my car tires. I've never really thought about how alignment works in my life. Oh, Carly, happy birthday. If we've got any other January babies here, be sure to drop that right now so we can all wish you happy birthday, Nikki. Lots of, okay, I love that. So drop your birthday there. We want to celebrate you. And I actually have a really good activity for you tonight that you might want to do. Oh, Christy, Winnie the Pooh Day 19th. So Denise has a birthday, Christine. There's quite a few of you who will be celebrating. So Dungeons and Dragons. Marissa, I don't play, but I can understand. So alignment, I thought, well, I guess I'm going to have some work to do. This Yolanda, happy birthday. I love that. But I found this mirror ball and I love it. Divine Colors is this account on Instagram, and I really want to recommend following very positive accounts on Instagram because when you do, your algorithm gets so good and you'll get pointed to lots of other things that are going to just, lift you up. Oh my goodness, Amanda's got a birthday. Man, lots of January babies. So glad that we get to celebrate together. And I've got an activity that you might want to do tonight. So the energy for 2026 is only doing what feels genuinely right in your intuition and letting go of everything else. And I thought, man, that is alignment, right? When you are just aligned with who that authentic self is. So you'll be seeing this mirror ball at my weekly setups. I think I'm going to keep it for the month. All right. Oh, and Denise, your daughter's trying to explain D&D alignment now. I love that. So we do invite you to go always start your journey each month with the letter from Meha, our founder. She gives you a little background to why alignment, why the theme, and kind of her first thoughts on it, and gives us some things to consider. Some words that popped out for me. She writes about, alignment is that permission to pause, to breathe, to come back to ourselves. We can be so busy, go, go, go all the time, and we forget to just like take a deep breath. Alignment isn't about having it all figured out, and that's what I love about this community is that we come as we are and we love and support each other. And we don't have it figured out, but we do the best we can. And then alignment begins with awareness. And so that's what our journey is going to be about this whole month is becoming aware of what alignment looks like in your life. It's not about rotating the tires. But I love this quote. We will open the book. Its pages are blank. We are going to put words on them ourselves. The book is called Opportunity, and its first chapter is New Year's Day. And so here we sit with this number 100 edition. And I'm just so glad that we're going to do this journey together. So I do want to make sure that I allow you a little bit of time to start reflecting on your 2025 as we get ready to jump into a new year. It's important to celebrate, to look back, and to kind of think about what this past year brought our way. So you're going to find your yearly reflections on page 3. Now, all the other journals that you will have, your page 3 will be your definition page. So it will always have the theme and a space for your reflections on the definition. But January's journal brings us a yearly reflection page. And so I want to make sure that we probably won't finish this tonight, or maybe you've been to a couple of monthly setups and you're really going to dig into this page tonight because everything else is done. But I want to make sure we create space for this so that you can start it. Now, I have not done mine. I mentioned last night, we are low key New Year's Eve people. And I think I'm going to sit. I've been jotting some stuff down on scrap paper, and then I'm going to commit it to the page after I sort of sort things out for my page. That's going to be my New Year's Eve thing to do because we'll be inside in our jammies. But a couple of things. One day, you'll tell your story of how you overcame what you went through, and it will be someone else's survival guide. So maybe 2025 didn't look so great. Maybe there were some really hard things. I want you to just celebrate that you are here finishing up the year and you are finishing strong. And so one of these spaces may just be, I'm here, and you can celebrate that in spite of really tough things. And then the reminder to be kind to the past versions of you because they are the soil in which you now bloom. So, some things you can do, you can look back at all those past journals that you've had over the year. Look through your camera roll on your phone. I always like to get my calendar and I make it a list on my phone and start scrolling through to see how I spent my time and where I went. And then finally, the reminder that you can change any of these categories to fit your experiences in your life. And I have a really cool, some examples to show you. So the page has things I achieved, people I met, places I went, and books I read. But I wanted to give you some other ideas. Now, the one that's on the upper left is mine from last year's reflection, because I'm still, mine this year is it's still in progress. But I changed the people I met to completed projects. I'm a retiree and I spend a ton of time sewing and quilting and trying watercolors, and I have a postcard exchange thing that I'm part of. And so I celebrated those projects that were important to me. You can see Corey, I think this one is yours. You mentioned last night. Instead of people I met, it's just happy things. So you might create a box where it says happy things and you reflect upon the little joys that you were able to discover in 2025. And then the one that's over there on the far right, instead of yeah, I meet people in books, Corey. That's where I meet people. Um, the instead of people I met, they put things I learned. So, wow, if learning goals are huge for you, there it is. And instead of places I went, concerts I went to. So, like, that's a music bug person. If you're a quilter, maybe it's all the different fabric stores that you discovered after Joann's closed. So you can make this very personal. So that it speaks to you. So I want to give you a little bit of time to get started on your yearly reflection. Feel free to share in the chat maybe what you are changing any of these categories to, if you've got a different title. And, give power to those things that were tough that you landed on the other side. It might be a little bittersweet to think about them, but I want you to celebrate you and how strong and brave you are. And so maybe think about, ways I was brave. And you could maybe take those things that weren't so great and turn them into the things that helped you remember that brave self. Okay, so hopefully this has given you a little bit of a start to that reflection over your 2025. What I love about this is now that you're thinking about this past year, you can also think about maybe the way your four spaces will look when you're sitting here in a year from now, and think about what do you want to be celebrating, to be writing down, to be putting to pen to paper in a year from now. And so you might be thinking, I'm going to start keeping a happiness list of those little moments, those little joys and celebrations that I might otherwise forget, so that you can be inspired by Corey's example there in the middle. Or perhaps it has inspired you to think about, I want to go to concerts this year. And you might set a goal of a concert a quarter, and then you can celebrate it in a year from now and make one of your spaces about those. So you can start thinking about also like what you want to bring to um oh my goodness, to 2026. You read 48 books. Alicia, I am impressed. I might get 53. I'm still working on my final one. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. I'm definitely at 52 again. So I do at least one a week, but whoo, that's impressive. That's amazing. So thanks for working on that. Now let's get on with our monthly setup. So we're going to go a little bit quicker than usual because I want to make sure that you have time to look at all these wonderful examples provided to you by our Sonder family. And we just want to make sure that we, allow you the opportunity to at least look at each of these sections that we'll work on tonight. We're going to start off with an opening activity. It does consist of our acrostic poem, but I have some alternative ideas for you. And if it's your birthday, I have a alternative idea for you to embrace. We'll do those December reflections, a whole nother reflecting. January intentions will be set, and we can support one another as we figure out exactly what we want to put on that page. And then we'll look at that mood and habit tracker, um, those tools for those trackers. And I don't know about y'all, but this is the kind of week we're having. I'm not sure what day it is. Confused, full of cheese, unsure of the day of the week. It's like once we get through this week, we're ready. We're ready to get back on track. But I thought that was a pretty cute little graphic there. Um, so we sometimes about once a quarter, we'll have one of our journals, we'll have an acrostic page actually printed in it, and we'll do this. But we always start our monthly setups off with an alignment with an acrostic poem. And this month it is on alignment, our new theme. And so we encourage you to start free associating words, like come up with 9 words or phrases for alignment, and then create an acrostic poem using that word. So, kind of those first things that pop into your head. I know many of you who are on the coaching platform will go ask your coach, given what you know about me, help me write a poem about alignment, an acrostic poem about alignment, and our coaching platform will make it very specific for you. Some of you just sort of start writing poems. You're great at coming up with those words. Let me show you some examples for inspiration. These have been posted in our Sonder Club, and so you might have already seen them, but some really, really great ways to do it. This is a bonus prompt this month, so you'll have to go find a notes page. Maybe you'll use one of the scratch pads in the weekly setups, or if you turn to your first page, page 1, that's got the index on it, there's that notes section at the bottom of the page, the bottom right side of the page. An alignment poem can fit right there. You can see 2 examples using that space there in the middle. Now, you could also, if alignment, you're like, it's not really, I'm not feeling alignment tonight, maybe you'll think about doing January, an acrostic poem using the letters in the month of January. We also have this graphic that has our, synonyms for alignment, other words that might speak to you a little more clearly that you can be inspired by. And then if you have a birthday, you could do a birthday acrostic. And this was from someone in Sonder Club, and I snatched that and I was like, I'm going to probably start putting this in every one of the monthly setups that I do because you should celebrate yourself all month. And by starting off with an acrostic poem for your birthday, perfect example of how to get going with that month and celebrating yourself. Now, if an acrostic poem is not your jam, you could write a little note saying goodbye to December and welcoming January, like you're writing a little note to a good friend. Or you could do that to 2025 and 2026. Write to the year about, how you're feeling and saying goodbye to it and then welcoming in 2026. You could also create a word cloud with words that kind of come up for you, those similar words to alignment, or maybe you use January or a combination of both. Oh, Heather, thank you so much for posting that in Sonder Club. That's Heather's acrostic birthday poem, and I love it. I think it is so inspiring for celebrating ourselves. You could also write a haiku using the theme of alignment if you enjoy poetry, or I mentioned that instead of our definition page, we had our yearly pages that we just worked on. So we don't have that definition page, but you could kind of go work on your own definition of alignment. So lots of ways to kind of open our time up together as we begin to explore alignment in our life. I'm going to put on a little bit of music and then we'll get going with the rest of our setup. Let us know what you're doing. If you've already been to a monthly setup and you did like your acrostic poem, maybe you could write that goodbye letter and hello letter. So let us know what you're doing. you may still be working on your poem or your welcome note, your goodbye notes. So go ahead and continue to work, but I do want to make sure I value your time. I want to make sure we get through all the examples I have to share with you tonight. So we're going to now start looking at page 8, which is your December reflection page, where we look back over this past month, which was probably a blur, a whirlwind. We look at those things that were wins, we look at the challenges, we look at the favorite moments from the month. And then that bottom section, we're going to look at the things that we want to start, stop, and continue as we move into a brand new month. Now, normally when I do a monthly setup, I like to split this page into two prompts, two areas to work on. But for time's sake, we're going to work on the whole page together. But I have some neat examples to show you. We'll talk about those wins. One of the best things to do is go back and look at all your roses and your buds that maybe you kept track of throughout the month. That's a really great place to source those wins, those things that brought you happiness, that were maybe challenges that were overcome and a big accomplishment, things that you're very proud of, the things that made you happy or smile. And then, of course, the challenges, those are those thorns. You could go take a look at those thorns. What did the month bring you? And it's kind of nice to look back over it and go, okay, and I'm done. I survived and I made it. But maybe there were some things that were out of your control, or something was a big old stumbling block and it didn't go well. And those were your challenges. Let's put them on paper and maybe think of ways we can leave that behind. In addition to looking at your rosebud thorn reflections from week to week, you could also pick up that phone and go through what caught your attention, what made you pause and take pictures, what does your calendar look like, go check your emails. What kind of emails did you get? Maybe from work there were some challenges, and you needed to be reminded, oh yeah, that happened at the very front of the month and I took care of that. So celebrate that by putting that on your page. Now the stop, start, and continue spaces down at the bottom. I love this space because I really think it can serve as a compass to point us into the things we want to have happen in the next month. So, oh, Denise, kidney stones, yuck, that was definitely a challenge. Hope you're feeling better now. So we're going to look at those things that we want to start in our life, that we want to bring forward. And of course, there are things that we probably want to stop. Oftentimes, mine is just the mindless phone use. And then things we want to continue, those things that we're celebrating, that we're proud of, and we're going to keep doing it and bring that into the next month. Those are those things that are working really well. So, for a little inspiration, let's take a look at a couple of things. Now, if you were with us this past month and you worked on your weekly mind map at the weekly setups, I'm going to encourage you to get that December journal and go reread what you answered from week to week for these prompts, because the month of renewal had us looking at the things that we did for ourselves that we really liked, those good self-care acts, the goals we had made progress on, the things we learned about ourselves over this past year, and then finally, the one thing we wanted to leave behind. That's a great thing to go in your stop box. So grab that mind map if you participated in that from week to week over the past month to maybe inform that start, stop, and continue box. And then here are some examples of how our Sonder family sets this up. I always like to point out, I think the one here at the bottom, the example there at the bottom, they're really looking at one area of their life. So they've sort of given this space a theme, and their theme is health and wellness. And then they're asking themselves these questions for each. What is it I want to start doing? Why do I want to start doing it? And how am I going to make that happen? And so they ask themselves those three questions. So I love that. You could, if there's a relationship that you really want to dig into, maybe this whole section down here is about that relationship. Or perhaps there's a project at work. Maybe this whole section is about that that project at work. So you can really kind of gravitate to a theme for this. Or it can just be the different areas in your life that you might want to shore up a little bit. So let's put on a little bit of music while we work on this page and share the things that are coming up for you. We'd love to know what your wins were. It's so fun to celebrate each other. And if you have an area that was very challenging and you would just like to know that other folks are holding you in their thoughts, drop that in the chat and share as you're comfortable. You may still be working on this page. Go ahead and continue to work. We're going to go ahead and move forward so we can make sure we have plenty of time to start talking about those intentions that we want to set for the month. Your intention page it was the next door neighbor, page 9. And those are, this page has these 6 beautiful categories on it: spiritual health, personal life, physical health, key relationships, money management, and professional goals. And you're completely invited to use this page just as it's printed. But you may find that maybe one or two of these intentions don't quite fit in your life, or maybe you need to change all these intention spaces up so that it better serves what you are looking for this month. So I've got some really beautiful examples of pages to share with you from our Sonder family. I also wanted just to shout out to this little meme over here, this graphic, because there's like this pressure we feel that January 1st and the calendar's brand new. And yes, we love that new, fresh start. But also that reminder, it says new year, new me. No, new year, same me, but I'm going to love her better than ever. And I love that because not a whole lot changes just because the calendar changes. But I can, from day to day to day, just love myself a little bit more, and be gentle. I'm not a new person. In fact, I'm a pretty old person. Pretty old person with a lot of pretty old stuff going on. So just that reminder to be good to yourself and be gentle to yourself as we do start a new year together. So this page, lots of folks will take one or two of these spaces and retitle them so that it aligns better with their life. And I've got a list over here on the slide deck that shows you some of the different things that folks have used for their space. Now, I usually change personal life up with like creativity or hobbies. Again, I said, since I'm retired, that's a big part of how I feel my days. And so I want to make sure that I'm finding my flow with that. No longer work outside the home with a 8 to 5 job. So my professional goals are now my learning goals. And most of that learning has to do with things that will help support my growth personally as a facilitator and staying current on all the good things for human people, human beings and brain development and taking good care of ourselves. So I do a lot of learning goals instead of professional goals. When the weather's nice outside, I usually change one of the other spaces up to my gardening, because I spend a lot of time there being reflective and digging in the earth. So you may change some of these or leave them just as they are. Let's take a look at some examples from our Silk and Sonder family. Some tips and tricks for this is maybe you think about how you want to align with each of these areas. I've got some examples to show you of how a couple of folks have done that. Maybe you do an area that you're really working on, like self-love or self-talk. Write a name of a song or lyrics. You can write sort of how you want to feel in each of these areas. And then there's the way to explore this through the lens of duality, like what you want to let go of and what you want to start doing. Let me show you some fun examples of that. So, two examples of duality you can see in the middle and the lower left. So, we've got a more and less, and then we also have a choose and release. So, both of those are great ways to set this space up or these spaces up. You could do, what do I want to say yes to and no to? Or what do I want to start and what do I want to stop? What do I want to let go of? What do I want to lean into? You could also set this up with happy stickers that speak to exactly how you want to feel in each of these spaces. So you can see this great example of a sticker page. Maya always says stickers want to fulfill their destiny. So we say, stickers want to be stuck. Use those stickers up, and you might be able to find some great images or words that really speak to each of those areas. I just actually noticed last night the eggplant in key relationships. I was like, oh my. So you can use those stickers any way you want to use them. You could use the monthly theme. This example on the upper right is from our theme of connect, but maybe you're going to be intentional with this month's theme of alignment as you write out your intentions. And then always, always, always great to just make some affirmation statements. And there's some great examples over there on the right. Here's a couple of great pages to take a look at. I always love show and tell. So we've got, the one on the left, they've used some beautiful quotes. Actually, both of these have used quotes to guide their intentions. The one on the right has, what they want less of with a down arrow and more of with an up arrow. And then you can see how they have the one over there on the right has relabeled spiritual health to mental health. Personal life is now creative growth. So really they wanted to lean into that for their page. We have this alignment of January intentions. And then you can see each of those topics. There are 5 spaces written on. That very bottom one where professional goals usually is this space is this sticker that's just reminding, make today worthy. And you can see they want to embrace new beginnings, explore my purpose, enhance professional growth, prioritize self-care, and nourish relationships. And then there's some key points there on how that's going to happen. The one in the middle is from our friend Kimberly, and she actually just did this fill in the blank and kind of around alignment. I value blank, so I will prioritize blank by blank with blank. And so for spiritual health, I value my relationship with God. So I will prioritize moments of reflection and surrender by attending weekday mass with an open heart. So yeah, Katie just put that in there, the little fill in the blank. That's a really great way to frame that out. You could also look at doing collage images, printing things, kind of go scrapbook style. I love the little bottom square on this example on the right, that bottom left, it says organize your hot mess. So that's theirs. Yeah. Radhika, I love that you were inspired by Kimberly L. That's what I love about this community. Also, a shout out to drawing penguins. I love love these little drawings, and I want to encourage you, like, if doodles speak to you, practice, use them. It's so good for your brain to doodle. So perhaps you doodle in your intentions page. Again, nobody's going to see this, but it's really doing your brain a lot of good to try those doodling. And I'm a terrible artist, but I love to try. So do that. The example in the middle there are all of those song titles and lyrics that I was talking about, how someone framed that out. And you can choose every one of these, change every one of these spaces to words that speak to you, like you see the example right over here where it's got connection and impermanence and acceptance. So really went deep. And these intentions are meant to sort of be your jumping off point for the entire rest of your month. And I'll fess up, when I first started doing my intentions, I'd work on this page and then I'd never look at it again. So I want to encourage you to think about, while you're working on them tonight, how can you hold yourself accountable to check in? Maybe you have Wednesday is your intention day. And so you go right now and write that in that weekly spread to remind yourself each Wednesday to go check in with your intentions and see how you're doing and see how your weeks are supporting those things that you are saying that you want for the month. So I'm gonna put on some music. I'll go back through all of these examples while you work on it. And please, like, share all the things that you're doing, that you're changing up. Also a reminder, you don't have to do 6 of these. Maybe you want to just focus on 3 top ones, and maybe they're inspired by your start, stop, and continued space. And then you save those other 3 spaces for stickers or for a check-in tracker, to hold yourself accountable to your intentions. Or maybe you leave one of these blank, and that will be where you do some reflective pieces as you check back in with your intentions throughout the month. So yeah, let us know what you're planning to do, and I'll go back through these while you're working here. Alrighty. So you're probably still thinking about these intentions. Oftentimes, I'll use post-it notes or scrap pieces of paper until I actually commit to what they are. But a couple of call outs. Christy shared that she is using her word of the year, which is nourish, which I love that word, and kind of applying it to each one of those areas in her life. So remember that word of the year. If you want to do the word of the year quiz that Silk and Sonder put together, it's kind of a fun little quiz if you're trying having a hard time landing on a word. But Katie dropped that link in the chat so you could do that. And Maureen dropped, she changed three categories to ones that will fit her needs when her journal gets here so she can get started once it gets there. So good. I'm glad that that's something that's going to work for you, Maureen. Be sure to set your chat to everyone so folks can see what you're sharing. And now we're going to flip over to those two trackers. We're going to start with our mood tracker, which helps us notice how we're feeling, maybe when, where, how, why. We'll spend a little bit of time with this, and then we're also going to look at our habit tracker. So, this month's mood tracker is the hexagon. For those of you who might be new, we have the round one, the circle one. Those are on usually on days that have or months that have 30 days. And then the mood tracker here is for the months that have 31 days. So, if you're brand new, I don't want you to like, oh, what happened to my mood tracker if it looks different? It will look different next month for February. So we are working on hexagon this month. And I'm going to encourage you to think about maybe outlining or highlighting your days that look different from your regular days. For example, if you have a traditional 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job, maybe you draw a color around your weekend days because that will help you sort of notice the trends of your moods, where and when they're happening. Maybe you figure out that you're not real happy Monday through Friday because those days look different than your weekend days. So always try to, pull out those days that look different. Or if you work shift work, maybe you draw the color around your off days. And that just, again, it gives you a little bit more information. And I also suggested that if you're looking at tracking your moods and you want to go deeper, maybe you repurpose something like your sleep tracker. Maybe you use your smartwatch to track your sleep. And so that's an empty page. So maybe you take your sleep tracker and you make notes in there. So you track your mood and then you write about that mood. And that's a way for you to find out and figure out these correlations of things that are going on in your world. Alrighty, so we have our feelings wheel here. If you're brand new to this and you want to use this mood tracker for your moods, we suggest doing those words that you see on the outside of this feelings wheel. They're also in the core middle of this wheel. And then as you get more specific, you can take these words that kind of fan out and really hone in on very specific feelings. You also don't have to do all the feelings. You might just track three things. It's always about what works for you. So here's some examples of how folks I've set their mood tracker up. And I love this one. If my day was a movie, the one that's over on the upper right, I thought that was kind of a fun way to look at moods. You can see how you're feeling and decide if it's a comedy day or a mystery day or an action day. So I thought that was kind of fun. You can check in once a day with this mood tracker. You can check in several times a day. I know oftentimes people will check in and just use little dots as to mark the feeling that they were feeling. You can see this person is doing the bottom left. There is a morning check-in and an evening check-in. And so they're kind of, and they've color coded those spaces with those moods. You can get very specific, like this top example that you see. And then there's also the idea of looking at your moods through your emotions and pairing that with also doing an energy check-in. And so they are going to draw around the space for the day based on their energy level, if it was high, medium, or low. And that's another way to utilize the tracker and kind of look at how you were feeling emotionally with that. So that's a great idea. And then many folks will just take this tracker, they don't do their moods, and they repurpose it to track something else that's important in their life. That this is not an all exhaustive list. But these are some examples that we've seen. I usually use mine as a book tracker, but last month, because I was doing a lot of hobbies and people were getting a lot of stuff I made for Christmas, I used it as my hobby tracker. And so if I sewed, that day got an S. If I quilted, it got a Q. If I painted, it got a P. And so I just tracked my hobbies. That's what worked in my life last month. There's an example of an exercise tracker, a book tracker. Perhaps it's a symptom tracker. So you can see the bottom right is fasting blood glucose. And they're going to put all of this information in one space, which is very beneficial for your healthcare provider. Um, Look at the one on the bottom left. This is kind of like those spaces that are on our intentions page. So maybe you're going to track your intentions or check in with your intentions via this tracker. And you could do like this person is which health area did I focus on or have a win for the day? So maybe it's like which intention area did I embrace today? And you could track it that way. Also, you could do a rate the day, like the one you see there in the middle. So lots of different ways to set this up. Let me put on a little bit of music and I'll go back through these slides. If you saw something that you want to maybe grab a screenshot of or share in the chat how you set your tracker up. Do you use it as a mood tracker? What has it taught you? What have you learned about yourself? And also, how do you repurpose it if you go that direction? Wendy, I like the idea of a pain tracker. That's very beneficial for your healthcare provider when you do that. And so you have 7 habits on your habit tracker. You add that. That's great. Thanks for calling out that pain tracker. That would be really beneficial, I think, I know there's many people that have pain's a part of their life. So I'd love to see that in Sonder Club, how you use that tool. So now we're going to turn to our final tracker that we'll be looking at this evening, the habit tracker. I love this one. This is that tracker that all the things that we want to do, like on a daily basis. So the habit tracker in your weekly spread can be changed up based on, what your week is bringing you. But these are the things we intend to do most days of the month. Thanks, Wendy, for posting that. So you could go look at your start, stop, and continue box and see how maybe some of those things that you want to do will fit into your tracker. Of course, we can use that alignment mindset again, but we also want to remind you, habits take a while to form. And so give yourself some gimmies, the things that you're going to do so that you're celebrating a success, and it makes you turn to your habit tracker and look at it. Don't do a ton of brand new things every month. Maybe only add 1 or 2 new things. We want to make sure that we are having that balance of the things that you know you'll do to the ones that you're going to slowly commit to. So some people will draw a beautiful mandala in here and then color it in to celebrate as they, proceed through the month, and their goal being that the whole thing gets filled in. I am a black check person, so that's all I do. We can see the habit tracker over there on the right, they've highlighted their weekends. Again, that reminder that weekends might look different, or you purposely take weekends off from your habit tracker. Here's some more examples. The one here on the left was from December, and you can see there's like this section, the 24th through the 28th, just kind of giving myself that acknowledgement that that's the holiday season. The one over there on the right, they are checking in at specific times in the day. You can see how they've noted that. And they mark something on their tracker every day, whether they've done the tracking or whether they've done the task, the habit or not. They're acknowledging that. We always say, give yourself grace. It's okay if they don't get filled out. This is data. This is strictly data for your life. And so, your empty spaces also tell a story. So let me put on a quick moment of music. I'll go back through these. Let us know what habits you'll be tracking this month. I would love to see your habit tracker as well as any of the other pages you set up this evening in Sonder Club if you'd like to share with your community. We are constantly amazed at all the inspiration we can draw from one another. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. We're ending 2025 in the most positive way, hanging out with the best people. So yeah, share in Sonder Club. There's the little shout out to our personal life coaching platform. If you want more information about that, you can reach out to headquarters. Katie's going to drop some links in the chat so you can access this social as well as like 1,100 other socials from the past at our YouTube channel. She is also reminding you of our New Year Real You Glow Up exclusive with Mayhawk that will be coming up mid-January. So get that new routine going for the year. Happy New Year, friends. I'm really glad that we spent this time together. Team Texas is honored that you carved out this time for your journey, but also for one another in the support. We hope that you newbies will keep coming back and join us for a weekly setup. And yeah, y'all stay safe, and I'll see you in 2020.